The political and legal status of Taiwan hinges on whether Taiwan, Penghu, Kinmen, and Matsu should remain effectively independent as territory of the Republic of China, become unified with the territories now governed by the People's Republic of China, formally declare independence and become the Republic of Taiwan, as well as whether the existence and legal status as a state of both the ROC and the PRC is legitimate as a matter of international law, and how much diplomatic recognition either entity receives from the international community. Currently, Taiwan, Penghu, Kinmen, Matsu, and some other minor islands effectively make up the jurisdiction of the state with the official name of Republic of China but widely known as Taiwan. The ROC, which took control of Taiwan in 1945, ruled mainland China and claimed sovereignty over Outer Mongolia and Tanu Yurianka before losing the Chinese Civil War and relocating its government to Taipei, Taiwan in December 1949. On September 1951, Japan officially renounced its right to Taiwan in the Treaty of San Francisco without explicitly stating the sovereignty status of Taiwan, and hence some supporters of Taiwanese independence argue that the sovereignty of Taiwan is still held by the Allies. Since the ROC lost its United Nations seat as China in 1971 and replaced by the PRC, most sovereign states have switched their diplomatic recognition to the PRC, recognizing the PRC as the sole legitimate representative of China, though many deliberately avoid stating clearly what territories they believe China includes. As of 2013, the ROC maintains official diplomatic relations with 21 UN member states and the Holy See, although informal relations are maintained with nearly all others. Agencies of foreign governments such as the American Institute in Taiwan operate as de facto embassies of their home countries in Taiwan, and Taiwan operates similar de facto embassies and consulates in most countries under such names as Taipei Representative Office or Taipei Economic and Cultural Office. In certain contexts, Taiwan is also referred to as the Chinese Taipei. The ROC government has in the past actively pursued the claim as the sole legitimate government over mainland China and Taiwan. This position started to be largely adjusted in the early 1990s as democracy was introduced and new Taiwanese leaders were elected, changing to one that does not actively challenge the legitimacy of PRC rule over mainland China. However, with the election of the Kuomintang back into executive power in 2008, the ROC government has changed its position back to that mainland China is also part of the territory of the ROC. Both the PRC and the ROC carry out cross-strait relations through specialized agencies, rather than through foreign ministries. Different groups have different concepts of what the current formal political situation of Taiwan is. In addition, the situation can be confusing because of the different parties and the effort by many groups to deal with the controversy through a policy of deliberate ambiguity. The political solution that is accepted by many of the current groups is the perspective of the status quo, to unofficially treat Taiwan as a state and at a minimum, to officially declare no support for the government of this state making a formal declaration of independence. What a formal declaration of independence would consist of is not clear and can be confusing given the fact that the People's Republic of China has never controlled Taiwan and the Republic of China still exists, albeit on a decreased scale. The status quo is accepted in large part because it does not define the legal or future status of Taiwan, leaving each group to interpret the situation in a way that is politically acceptable to its members. At the same time, a policy of status quo has been criticized as being dangerous precisely because different sides have different interpretations of what the status quo is, leading to the possibility of war through brinkmanship or miscalculation. Background: Taiwan was first populated by Austronesian people and was colonized by the Dutch, who had arrived in 1623. The Kingdom of Tungning, lasting from 1661 to 1683, was the first Han Chinese government to rule Taiwan. From 1683, the Qing dynasty ruled Taiwan as a prefecture and in 1875 divided the island into two prefectures. In 1885 the island was made into a separate Chinese province to speed up development in this region. In the aftermath of the First Sino-Japanese War, Taiwan and Penghu were ceded by the Qing dynasty to Japan in 1895. Japanese troops in Taiwan surrendered to the Republic of China at end of World War II, putting Taiwan under a Chinese government again after 50 years of Japanese rule. The ROC would then claim sovereignty on the basis of the Qing dynasty's administration, Cairo Declaration, Potsdam Declaration, and Japanese Instrument of Surrender. But this became contested by pro-independence groups in subsequent years due to different perceptions of the said document's legality. Upon losing the Chinese Civil War in 1949, the ROC government retreated to Taipei, and kept control over a few islands along the coast of mainland China and in the South China Sea. The People's Republic of China was established in mainland China on 1 October 1949, claiming to be the successor to the ROC. Quemoy, Matsu and Wuqiu on the coast of Fujian, Taiping and Pratas in the South China Sea, are part of the ROC's present territory, but were not ceded to Japan. Some arguments supporting the independence of Taiwan do not apply to these islands. Cession, retrocession, legal status, and self-determination of Taiwan. China, during the Qing dynasty, ceded the island of Taiwan, including Penghu, to Japan, in perpetuity, at the end of the First Sino-Japanese War by signing the Treaty of Shimonoseki. In the Cairo Conference of 1943, the Allied powers agreed to have Japan restore all the territories Japan has stolen from the Chinese, specifically listing Formosa and Penghu to the Republic of China after the defeat of Japan. According to both the People's Republic of China and the Republic of China, this agreement was given legal force by the Instrument of Surrender of Japan in 1945. The PRC's UN ambassador, Wang Yingfan, has stated multiple times in the UN General Committee, Taiwan is an inseparable part of China's territory since antiquity, and both the 1943 Cairo Declaration and the 1945 Potsdam Declaration have reaffirmed in unequivocal terms China's sovereignty over Taiwan as a matter of international law. The PRC rejects arguments involving the lack of a specific treaty transferring Taiwan's sovereignty to China by noting that neither PRC nor ROC was a signatory to any such treaty, making the treaties irrelevant with regard to Chinese claims. The ROC argues that the Treaty of Taipei implicitly transferred sovereignty of Taiwan to it. However, the U.S. State Department disagreed with such an interpretation in its 1971 Star Memorandum. In addition, the ROC's Foreign Minister stated that no provision has been made either in the San Francisco Treaty of Peace as to the future of Taiwan and Penghu legal status dispute under international law. On the other hand, a number of supporters of Taiwan independence argue that Taiwan was only formally incorporated as a Chinese territory under the Qing dynasty in 1683, and as a province in 1885. Subsequently, because of the Shimonoseki Treaty of 1895, Taiwan had been de jure part of Japan when the ROC was established in 1912 and thus was not part of the Chinese Republic. Also, because the Cairo Declaration was an unsigned press communiqué, the independence advocates argue that the legal effectiveness of the declaration is highly questionable. Furthermore, they point out that the Instrument of Surrender of Japan was no more than an armistice, a modus vivendi, in nature, which served as a temporary or provisional agreement that would be replaced with a peace treaty. Therefore, only a military occupation of Taiwan began on 25 October 1945, and both the Treaty of San Francisco and Treaty of Taipei hold legal supremacy over the surrender instrument. These treaties did not transfer the title of Taiwan from Japan to China. According to this argument, the sovereignty of Taiwan was returned to the people of Taiwan when Japan renounced sovereignty of Taiwan in the Treaty of San Francisco in 1951, based on the policy of self-determination which has been applied to territories which detached from enemy states as a result of the Second World War, as defined by Articles 76b and 77b of the United Nations Charter and also by the Protocol of the Yalta Conference. The United Nations General Assembly has not been particularly receptive to this argument, and the ROC's applications for admission to the United Nations have been rejected 15 times. Although the interpretation of the peace treaties was used to challenge the legitimacy of the ROC on Taiwan before the 1990s, the introduction of popular elections in Taiwan has compromised this position. Except for the most extreme Taiwan independence supporters, most Taiwanese support the popular sovereignty theory and no longer see much conflict between this theory of sovereignty and the ROC position. In this sense, the ROC government currently administering Taiwan is not the same ROC which accepted Japanese surrender because the ruling authorities were given popular mandate by different pools of constituencies. One is the mainland Chinese electorate, the other is the Taiwanese constituencies. In fact, former President Chen Shui-bian has been frequently emphasizing the popular sovereignty theory in his speeches. However, as of 2010, the conflict between these two theories still plays a role in internal Taiwanese politics. The popular sovereignty theory, which the Pan-Green Coalition emphasizes, suggests that Taiwan could make fundamental constitutional changes by means of a popular referendum. The ROC legal theory, which is supported by the Pan-Blue Coalition, suggests that any fundamental constitutional changes would require that the amendment procedure of the ROC Constitution be followed. From 2008, under the Ma Ying-jeou administration, Taiwan has had an accommodating policy towards a One China policy, with the Taipei Times quoting that Ma believes his administration is part of China.